affecting retailer bottom lines with non-stop variant cover and incentive ordering schemes, overshipments of products they can't sell, and chasing readers away with non-stop reboots and events is one thing. Marvel putting retailers in a no-win situation with their most loyal customers is publisher malfeasance. I've been covering Marvel Comics variant cover incentive schemes and how damaging they are to the industry since I started the channel. Some may say I cover it too hard, but I truly believe Marvel's predatory practices drive readers away and put stores out of business. Marvel's latest, unannounced, bloody variant cover scheme is much different than predecessors. In my opinion, and the opinion of many local comic shops, it's even dirtier. It's putting shop owners in an impossible dilemma of choosing between their very own customers. Some retailers went as far as not distributing them to loyal readers and even shorting customer pools. Before I get into all the details of CB Cebulski's latest marketing blunder, I first want to give a brief history of variant covers and their impact on the comic book market. Comic book variant covers are nothing new to the industry. The first arrived in the mid-1940s when Buster Brown Comics printed covers with shoe company advertisements. The first variant covers featuring different art came in 1955. Obscure comic The Adventures of Big Boy had variants for the East and West Coast. The first modern variant cover was 1986's Man of Steel #1. The money-making idea didn't immediately hit with readers or publishers. 1987's Superman #1, Strange Tales #1, Usagi Yojimbo #1, and 1988's Batman the Killing Joke, Amazing Spider-Man 300, and Wolverine #1 all released with 0 variants. There were actually very few variants from 1987 to 1989. The comic industry was entering a boom period at this time. The Wall Street Journal and other publications began writing articles identifying comic books, especially the rare variety, as good financial investments. Soon, speculators flooded the market, buying comics as investments for their kids' college funds. It normally takes time for a comic to become valuable on the open market. With demand outweighing supply, Marvel, DC, and a host of upstart publishing houses began manufacturing new, rare books. Speculators who didn't read comics and knew nothing about the industry eagerly scooped them up. Soon, even retailers began hoarding new books they thought would hold future value for resale. Prices for books like Superman 75, Spider-Man #1, and X-Men #1 skyrocketed despite enormous print runs. The comic bubble burst around 1994. Speculation on manufactured collectible comics, like variant covers, was a huge factor. Many were stuck holding books they ventured thousands of dollars in, worth a tenth of their investment. Speculators abandoned the comic market. It almost folded entirely. The comic market eventually stabilized. Despite playing a major role in the 1994 collapse, variant covers never went away. In fact, their presence in the market has only grown. They're aimed more towards collectors rather than speculators these days. Over time, variant cover incentive ordering schemes became major marketing gimmicks. Nobody uses this tool more than Marvel Comics. They regularly distribute 50 or more variant covers for milestone issues and major title reboots. DC plays the game as well, releasing over 80 different variants for Detective Comics #1000. Variant covers can be a great thing for the market when used judiciously. DC's current A-B cover system is great. The A cover normally features a teaser for the book's content with the series trade dress. The B cover is a terrific art piece of the title character with no trade dress for readers more interested in the art itself. This is how variant covers should work. Giving consumers choice is good business practice. The comic industry's current variant cover strategy, especially Marvel Comics, is much more predatory in nature. Comic collectors are a notoriously anal retentive bunch. Many are completionist collectors. They want continuous runs of their favorite titles with every cover released. In 2017, Marvel released their newest X-Men books, Blue and Gold. For the launch, they created variant covers featuring remastered Jim Lee art. Retailers needed to buy 1,000 of the first issues to have access to them, making them very rare on day one. My friend and co-host of Comics Aficionados, Doc, is, or was, an X-Men completionist. The price tag for these books on day one was $1,000. His complete run of X-Men books ended that day, and the industry has been driving Doc away from buying new comics with their shady practices ever since. He used to spend over $100 a week on comics. He now only buys back issues. Shockingly, he spends all the money he saves on high-end vintage X-Men comics. He still has a love for X-Men and comics in general. He still spends his entire comics budget. But the industry burned him so many times with variant covers and other schemes, he abandoned new comics altogether. Which brings us to Marvel's latest variant cover marketing gimmick. Most of you probably noticed a new variant cover strategy from Marvel Comics starting in June. Retailers received unannounced bloody variant covers promoting their upcoming Absolute Carnage event. The numbers sent to each comic shop are seemingly random, but most retailers agree it's about 30% in total. June's Amazing Spider-Man 24, Deadpool 14, Symbiote Spider-Man 3, Fantastic Four 11, Venom 15, and July's Invaders 7, Avengers 22, Black Cat 2, Captain Marvel 8, and Immortal Hulk 20 all received secret variants. On the surface, unannounced variant covers with blood splatter in the title seems rather harmless. But the cover isn't the only thing different about these comic issues. They also feature one-page tie-in stories to Absolute Carnage written by Clay McLeod Chapman and illustrated by Francesco Mobley, Alberto Albuquerque, or Gerardo Sandoval. The one-page promos don't stand out as particularly interesting for the most part, generally depicting carnage-infected rats and birds. The dream sequence in the Deadpool 14 issue is certainly more interesting than the rest. The one that does stand out is Immortal Hulk 20, written by Al Ewing himself, with graphics from Brian Level. It's revealed agents of Carnage dug up Thunderbolt Ross's body and stole it. Most readers know Carnage is hunting down anyone, live or dead, that's ever worn a symbiote for the Absolute Carnage event. I personally don't get caught up in these marketing gimmicks much. I bought an extra copy of Action Comics 1000 for my son, and a Savage Sword of Conan #1 limited variant cover illustrated by Ron Garney. A vast majority of these gimmicks don't do much for me personally, including one extra page of content. But even I'll admit, I would much prefer the Immortal Hulk 20 bloody variant. Thunderbolt Ross is an important character in Hulk lore, and this feels important. Releasing secret variant covers with exclusive content randomly is a terrible marketing ploy. This is likely the brainchild of David Gabriel, Marvel Comics VP of Sales. I don't think Marvel EIC CB Cebulski and his legion of doofuses led by Tom Brevoort and Jordan White thought this through before implementing it. And I will say for the record, I don't actually think CB is the devil. I think he's actually a nice guy in way over his head. I definitely do think he's surrounded by clowns, Brevoort and White chief among them. The second, third, and fourth order effects of this promotion are putting retail owners and shop managers in a terrible position. I've seen reports of shops stating they've received as many as 50% bloody variants to as few as 10%. There's a rumor that big stores like Midtown and Lone Star received the highest percentages, but that's unsubstantiated. Comic readers are a fickle bunch. They know there are books with extra content. Retailers are finding it hard to sell the regular books. Shipping the issues randomly has created indiscriminate winners and losers on the market. Stores that receive the fewest bloody variants are stuck with a glut of unmovable stock now. And that's just the effect on retailer pocketbooks. The most damaging consequence of Marvel's latest scheme is between shops and their actual customers. Most LCSs order based on their sub counts. Larger number of pulls mean more interest and larger orders for shelf display in stocks. I don't know a single retailer who orders comic issues at 2.5 times sub count. It's normally more like 1.25 or 1.5 times sub count, meaning if a store has 50 subs for an issue, they order between 60 and 75 copies total. Yet Marvel only shipped 30% of the secret variants randomly. Most retailers didn't have enough bloody variants to distribute to customers with pulls. Marvel is forcing shop owners and managers to choose which longtime customers receive sought-after books with extra content. There's virtually no way to do this without pissing off some, many, or possibly even all their most important customers, affecting retailer bottom lines with non-stop variant cover and incentive ordering schemes, overshipments of products they can't sell, and chasing readers away with non-stop reboots and events is one thing. Marvel putting retailers in a no-win situation with their most loyal customers is publisher malfeasance. And I hate to say it, but not all retailers are the victims of Marvel's latest variant cover scheme. When word got out bloody variants contained extra content, many retailers took them aside, pricing them at $10 or more. I've heard firsthand some retailers didn't have enough regular covers to fulfill all customer subs. Some simply didn't fill them all and sold books their customers pre-ordered at marked up prices. This is scumbag behavior of the highest order by owners and managers who partook. Customers agreed to buy those books sight unseen. Not filling those agreements is repulsive, greedy business. If you had an order for any of the books I mentioned earlier that wasn't filled and saw a marked up bloody variant on your LCF shelf, they screwed you over. I personally would take my business elsewhere. Any comic retailer or manager that would screw their most loyal customers over for short-term cash deserves to lose them permanently. I'm normally a huge advocate of local comic shops, but I always prioritize the needs of paying customers over everyone in the comic industry, including retailers, distributors, and publishers. It pains me to know LCSs treated loyal customers this way. Marvel Comics' latest variant cover scheme from C.B. Cebulski and David Gabriel generated buzz, which I imagine was the point. It was very short-sighted and executed extremely poorly. I know retailers who contacted their diamond reps to complain. They were told this is a new strategy Marvel is testing and to expect more unannounced variant covers with extra content moving forward. What are they supposed to do? Order 2.5 times sub counts to meet customers' needs? Make another round of impossible choices on which loyal customers do and don't receive sought-after variant covers? Marvel needs to work with their retailers and make this equitable before moving forward with this new strategy. Demand for bloody variants and their extra content is extremely high. Aftermarket prices are very healthy, but it's also put retailers in a terrible bind. There's virtually no interest among readers for regular books without extra content. Retailers are having fits trying to move them. Worse, shop owners and managers had to choose which of their most loyal customers receive them. It's impossible to please everyone. There's no right way to decide which subs receive which secret variants. Much worse, some retailers sold out their most loyal subs for short-term cash and didn't distribute bloody variants, despite not paying a penny more for them. I hope loyal customers screwed by greedy owners and managers find a new place to do business. You can't trust anyone who sells their own customers out for short-term money. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. I would appreciate it very much. It helps us attract more views for the channel. Subscribe for future commentary, comic book news, and reviews. And don't forget to ring the bell for notifications. If you want to talk comics, movies, and much, much more, you can follow me on Twitter at Wes_from_TC. With that, Salamat Po, and I'm out.